to be a little bit different with these Cyclones, so much more close and identical, in fact, to Rivius's list we've seen over the past couple of days. And finally, we are ready. Tyler on the Mage, BloodTrail on the Rogue, there's Chef Nomi, and there's Khadgar. So like, the two heroes of the classes right now.
Yep.
But let's see how we go. Evil Miscreant looks pretty good to me.
All right, BloodTrail full mulligan, got a pretty decent hand back. Coin Miscreant, always a powerful play. Tyler's considering if he wants to keep this Giant. I think Arcane Intellect is almost always a keep. And I would say that it's almost always a keep. Not quite always, but almost.
Which I can learn in the caster trick of never fully committing to something.
Right, I need to write these down.
Yep.
But Arcane Intellect, just you need multiple cards working together in this deck to actually make these explosive turns. So keeping Arcane Intellect so that you can refill your hand with more cards is beneficial. Tyler does opt to keep the Mountain Giant off of coin. When you're on the play, it's difficult to get these Mountain Giants down because just of the size of your hand. It just costs too much. But he thinks with the Arcane Intellect he might be able to efficiently use that Giant.
Yeah, and a big difference we'll see from, say, Staz's game is there isn't the Book of Spectres, so it means no spells are going to be discarded. That's, you know, the Arcane Intellect is really the Book of Spectres in this list, along with maybe the Mana Cyclone kind of cards. But yeah, it means that there's no chance at that happening where you're in such a disadvantageous position because of that going on and discarding a card. So Tyler has his full level of resources to deal with BloodTrail's Rogue here.
Another thing to note about the lack of Book of Spectres in Tyler's deck is that BloodTrail is opting not to play the deckhand on 1 because he knows Tyler doesn't run Book of Spectres. So on turn 2, we've seen this many times, mages often just ping. They very rarely just tempo out a Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, and there's no Ooze, for example, and as you said, the Sorcerer's Apprentice and Khadgar as 2-drops are just unsafe, and Mana Cyclone would require spells, which you don't normally have available this early in the game. But BloodTrail looks like he's going off to a quick start, and that's an SI7 agent he's hovering, right?
So with a raiding party draw last turn, BloodTrail knows he can go a bit more aggressive, and this is kind of a nice play, I think, by him. Instead of just coining up Miscreant to get more resources, he can still go prep raiding party next turn, which leads into the turn for Wagglepeck if he so chooses, because he knows Tyler's not running weapon removal. But this way he gets something on the board that can start hitting Tyler in the face much more quickly.
Yeah, big difference because the Miscreant can be proc next turn anyway versus the previous match we had where there was no actual way to combo the Miscreant left in hand.
Right.
So it forced the coin out.
Tyler, Arcane Intellect, using his mana. Piecing together some of the cards he'll need to be able to stop BloodTrail from being so aggressive.
I think Tyler's leaning there because he was afraid of a potential Van Cleef, for example.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, prep raiding party, something Van Cleef. No.
It's funny when they just activate Miscreant, you're like, oh, good, it was just a Miscreant.
Yeah.
You know?
only probably one of the best cards in the deck, you know.
Okay, not a whole lot going on.
Ooh.
So instead of just passing, Tyler's opting to use the magic trick here. It's possible he might go for a Cyclone turn if he's starting off with this. These are some interesting options. I'd be surprised if he leans towards Mirror Entity, but with Mirror Image, A, it buys you more time. It's more cheap spells you can use with the Cyclone. But the Ray of Frost as well can be used as removal and just delay. Opts for the Mirror Image. Paired together with the Sea Giants that he's running, spending 2 mana to make 4 minions discounts the Sea Giant by 4 for 2 mana.
It's pretty good. And also as well, we see now just the difference in style of play when you don't have a crazy opening. You just say, you know what, I'll just take a couple of spells and get a 2-2 on the board, right? It's just something that BloodTrail has to think about and consider instead of just letting BloodTrail run rampant for the first, 4 or 5 turns of the game. And
Tyler knowing that the number of spells he used would bring his hand size up to 9, meaning that on the draw next turn, the Mountain Giant will cost 3 if he chooses to play that. So now BloodTrail has to think of how he wants to deal with this, if he wants to deal with the Cyclone at all, or just ignore it completely.
Just to note as well, BloodTrail's list does not run a sap.
Nope.
Which is a big deal in this matchup. And knowing that, Tyler could actually just go Mountain Giant and then just like double Mirror Image or something and just say, you don't get to attack this Mountain Giant, and then I can start doing funky things the turn after.
I think with BloodTrail going so wide this turn, Tyler might opt for something like a Rabble Bouncer and then get a guaranteed Giant Conjurers. The only way to deal with a Giant would be like something crazy like Double Eviscerate, but perhaps he wants to take something like that safe. BloodTrail with the raiding party last turn equips the Wagglepick and gets both Dread Corsairs out into the board, which is very aggressive. Which is good. That's how you need to play this matchup. Don't give the mage time.
Yep. Already, if you just look at the power, if you pretend that Frost Nova just wasn't drawn, there's just so much damage on board.
14 showing.
You know, yeah, BloodTrail can just start pushing a lot and just set up lethal within a turn.
An interesting thing you can do with Khadgar, it works on anything that summons minions onto the board. It doesn't have to be Conjurer's Calling. It works with Mirror Images. Instead of 2, you summon 4. Works with Spellbender. Works with Splitting Image. Works with Death Rattles, like a High Main, for example. I'm not sure why that would be in Mage, but...
Yeah, anytime a minion is not played, but created on the board, I'd say, it does proc Khadgar.
A lot of options here from Tyler, and we kind of start to see how many decisions you can make with this deck, right? I touched on this earlier with Stas' Mage. There's only like 1 or 2 things you can do at a time, but with this deck, you can say, okay, do I need to go Giant? Can I play Images with it? Do I need to free some stuff with Ray of Frost? There's so many like combinations of stuff you can do, and Tyler's trying to find the best one.
Right, and already starting to see the plan is, you know, quite rightly you said that Rebel Bouncer and then the ping to kill off one of the Corsairs looked pretty good because it just soaks a ton of damage and gives Tyler that 1 turn to really go big with these Giants.
Right. Knowing that there's no sap, this Rebel Bouncer has to take 7 damage. There is an Edwin in BloodTrail's hand. Of course, Tyler's not running Voodoo Dolls or single target removal, so an Edwin is a very big threat.
It's probably going to go in, right?
Yeah.
He can Shadow Step. If he really wants, he could Shadow Step play. Shadow Step play.
So BloodTrail knows that Tyler has the second half of Ray of Frost because Tyler used one earlier on to generate some spells with Mana Cyclone. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Shadow Step on the Miscreant. Set up a Brotherhood. So with the Rabble Bouncer out of the way, I think I might have liked to see BloodTrail go a bit wider this turn, or at least consider doing something else after playing the Miscreant and seeing that there was a Faceless Summoner on top of the one he already has in his hand. He knows Tyler has a Ray of Frost in hand at this point, at least one, the second half of the original Twin spell. So although this Edwin is, you know, quite large and threatens to kill Tyler next turn, he should know that Tyler has to spend 1 mana this turn, 1 mana out of 6 to deal with the Edwin, and then he can spend 5 mana to develop something.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Because although Tyler looks like he's getting demolished, he's actually not in a bad spot at all, because with these cards, with effectively 3 Ray of Frosts available, and then the Frost Nova as well, and then the Mirror Images, Tyler might never take another point of damage this game. He can go as slow as he wants.
Actually, thinking about it a bit more, it's possible BloodTrail wanted to make a big Edwin this turn, knowing that Tyler's going to turn 6 with 9 cards in hand. And if that's the case, that means Tyler can go Mountain Giant, Conjurer's Calling. So if BloodTrail's trying to disincentivize that,
that make him Ray of Frost.
Right, so that might be a reason why he went for the Edwin play instead of going a bit wider.
Okay, well, there's Deadly Poison.
Right, no way to deal with this Giant, so go upstairs.
He has 6 from hand. Outside of, you know, the 2-drop that the Faceless may or may not generate.
The Eviscerate with the deckhand. I think he's considering how many minions he wants to commit to the board, noting how much Sea Giant would cost.
Blood and plunder.
I don't think it's too bothered about Sea Giant, to be honest. At this point in the game, I think if your opponent plays Sea Giant, then it doesn't matter too much. But this is going to be the big turn here. Khadgar into the Conjurers is...
Oh, goodness. This is just some of the raw... Oh, my God. You see Tyler making a nice little...
Yep. Fist bumps in the air.
Fist bumps in the air. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this wasn't as explosive a turn as we were talking about previously. I mean, it was just, you know, Khadgar Conjure Calling. You're only playing 2 cards. But this is the kind of thing you need to build up towards.
Yeah.
And that's what Tyler's been doing.
The board state looks pretty explosive to me. And this effectively sets up lethal as well.
Yeah.
So now I wonder if Tyler, you know, how much Tyler's was considering a Ray of Frost, just to make as many minions as possible stay alive.
I think he's just trying to find a way he loses right now. With the Edwin frozen, it's going to be incredibly difficult for BloodTrail to get through these. Tyler knows that there's 3 lackeys in BloodTrail's hands, so he might be trying to figure out, okay, how he needs maybe an ethereal lackey. What could he discover? Like, how can I, you know, work around that?
He does still have to be careful though, because depending on how many are removed, if Tyler uses the Conjurer's Calling again, it could summon 2 Giants instead.
Right.
And not the taunts. So the taunts were like the best outcome. He wants to keep getting as many taunts as possible.
So BloodTrail needs to remove as much as he can. So
this is what I was meaning, right? If you use, sorry to interrupt, but if he's using Ray of Frost on a 3/3, it suddenly makes a dagger swing needed. At
Right.
least on the surface. And a dagger swing is as good as an attack when you've set up lethal that turn, right?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. I mean, that
Things to consider,
helps a
yeah. I
bit.
guess we kill off a 7-8. So BloodTrail using the Life Drinker this turn, setting Tyler down to 8 health. Now, we were just saying that Tyler's in a great position, but now BloodTrail has set himself up for another Eviscerate out off the top.
It's lethal.
Unfortunately, with the randomly generated Fireball from the Mana Cyclone, Tyler has lethal, but BloodTrail was playing his outs, hoping for a top deck second Eviscerate to set up lethal against Tyler.
Yeah, I think the setup was good there. There is the consideration whether the knowledge of Ray of Frost should have stopped going that hard on just Van Cleef.